Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CEW podcast, the edition of the podcast where I genuinely think I have the most to talk about in terms of life updates, content, and just things in general. Hence why the topic of today's podcast as a whole is making CAW a hobby, because it's something that we'll get onto in a second. But first off, I do want to give the life updates. So, what has happened since the last podcast? What has happened since early September? Well, pretty big thing. I'm finally doing university. I've been doing it for a couple weeks now, and it's a lot to get used to. It's been a bit of a process, getting used to the travel, getting used to, doing things in a whole new way, learning a whole new format, immediately getting bombarded with things. I welcome the challenge. I'm always that kind of person that welcomes the challenge, but it's definitely gotten to the point where I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely I've definitely got to work on my time management, and finding time to just unwind, I think, is probably the thing that I'm thinking of, really, when it comes to that. And you're probably wondering, well, what does this mean for CEW? Well, for those of you that don't know, I'm probably going to be uploading this after Infamous, if Infamous comes out in the next couple days, so i.e. the 7th. And, well, basically, yeah, things are kind of weird when it comes to content. I haven't had the time to work on anything new in the last couple weeks. I had like a few things I had mid-edit, but obviously where I'm specializing in editing for university, a lot of my time when it comes to editing is going towards that. Doing CEW is going to be very, very good for my portfolio work and whatnot, and for my editing specialism unit, but at the same time, I'm thinking about if I actually have the time to necessarily do that at this juncture. And there will come a time where I'm able to work on stuff. I have a few things lined up for October that we can hopefully get to. It would kind of suck if we can't, but I'm trying to aim for something around Halloween. I don't necessarily think it will drop on exactly Halloween, because when is Halloween this year? A Tuesday, yeah, no, I can't do that on a Tuesday, no. So it'll probably be somewhere around Halloween. I've got something lined up, and I would like to try and get one more video done. So I'm gonna try and get 2 big videos out this month, and I think that'll be it, with a couple supporting ones if I have time to do that. I'm gonna focus on the big things first, and if I have time, though, I'll focus on the small. But basically, if content is slow for the next little bit, I sincerely apologize. The summer was fantastic. The summer, I think I produced more content in the space of about 3-4 months than I did from Kingdom of Glory all the way to Fight Forever. Which is insane, because that took almost a year to get from Kingdom of Glory to Fight Forever, and the fact that we're basically at the point now where I've almost built up 2 pay-per-views in the space of about 4 months is insane, which is why I feel comfortable taking a step back now. And I think that's a perfect way to segue into the big topic today, which is making/treating CAW as a hobby. Now, this is a thing that I feel like a lot of people need to realize when it comes to this, alright? And I'm gonna say my personal opinion on this, and, you guys can interpret it however you want. You guys can have your opinion on it, but I know what I'm planning on saying right now, which is, to me, unless you are getting some sort of gain from doing this, i.e., CAW has very much helped me get into my university course, and whatnot, and it's gonna help me a little bit with my university course and whatnot. And, unless you're making bread, unless you're making money off of this, you do not need to put every bit of free time into this. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but genuinely, seriously, once you realize, or once you hear that you do not need to put every waking hour into CAW and every bit of free time you have into CAW, then life will become so much easier. Look, I know that the people who know me a lot more personally in CAW know that I joke around a lot when it comes to, oh, this person hasn't done content in ages, but I'm only joking. I'm not, I'm not meaning it seriously. I just mean it in the sense of, look, if you want to do this, and you have the time to do it, and it's not going to stress you out, or it's not going to take away from something super, serious, or something you really want to do in life, then go ahead and, pursue CAW. Do everything you can. Look at what I did in the summer. I did maybe I want to say 40 videos, maybe a little less. I think I ended up working on about 35 videos in about 4 months. And I loved that. Genuinely, I loved doing that. It was a lot of fun. But now that I've done that, I need to take a step back, reanalyze everything, and I now have to start once again treating CAW as a hobby. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's simple. What is a hobby? It's a fun pastime that you do when you have basically, I don't want to say nothing else to do, but when you're in the mood to pursue your hobby, that's when you do it. You don't do it because someone's forcing you to do it. You don't do it because there's a deadline on when someone wants something. You don't do it because once again, you're being forced to do something. And you don't do it because you're just doing it to make somebody else happy. You're doing the hobby because you love it. And I feel like a lot of people in CAW do things that they don't really want to do just because it makes other people happy, or because that's how we kind of view CAW. We view CAW a lot of the time as this commitment, when in reality it should be a hobby. If I don't want to do a promo for someone, or if I don't have the time to do a promo for someone, I'm just going to tell them I don't have the time to do it. If I don't have the time to record a match, I'll keep it real. I don't record matches for other people, really, because one, I don't have the time, and two, as much as I like CAW, I feel like matchmaking is probably my least favorite thing in terms of, especially when it's for another company and whatnot. I've done it a few times, and I've just never really been a fan of that per se. But again, it's time that people stop viewing this as a commitment. And it's time that people actively started doing this when they're having fun with it and when they're enjoying it. You're allowed to go away for months and then come back and hit the ground running for a little bit, and then go away for a few weeks and then hit the ground running when you come back. You're allowed to do that because it's a hobby. It's not a job, it's not a career, it's not this full-time commitment. It's a hobby, it is something that you're meant to be doing in the background, and, it's something that I've had to kind of realize heading into university, that, I'm just not going to have as much time as I once did for this, and it sucks in a way, because, the older you get, the busier you are, but also, the better your ideas become. So, you're producing your best work in CAW, but it might take you 2 to 3 months to get a show going, and as annoying as that is, it's also, in a way, I guess the term is freeing. When you realize that you can work on this at any time and there is no time frame, and the only time frames that you have are the ones that you're putting on yourself, it's a lot more freeing. I think, just the long and short of it, people just need to make this fun for themselves again. I'm having a lot of fun with CAW when I can do it, because at the end of the day, like I've said, time in, time out, you can't go around treating this as a career, a big commitment, Because when you do get that big commitment, be it like a job or university or studies in general, or, you know, like these big things that you have to do sometimes in life, you know, we're not even talking about like earning money or earning an education. It's, you know, sometimes just real life commitments. You're gonna, you know, you can't be doing all of that stuff and then also do CAW as also like this big commitment. I just think the big thing for a lot of people, and the thing that I think a lot of people, again, as I've said, need to kind of realize and figure out for themselves is, again, our hobby is meant to be fun, and I feel like I've said this a lot when it comes to talking about CAW. Sorry, I'm stumbling all over the place. You know, I like to use these as a way of just getting these thoughts off my chest as well, and, you know, what better time than this? But I feel like a lot of the time, a lot of people will do this despite the fact that it is no longer fun. And they will force themselves to do it. And they'll force themselves to come up with stuff. And they'll force themselves to get stuff done by a deadline. Look, I have a deadline of when I want a couple videos up. But it might not happen. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly acceptable. You know, I don't have to get that stuff done within a time frame. I mean, sure, you know, have I already recorded stuff for the Halloween special? Yes, I recorded that, like I said, a few weeks ago. Have I got that stuff in a special Halloween arena? Yes. Yes, I do. Will it be a bit weird if it comes out in the middle of November? Absolutely. Do I really care at this point? No. You know, at the end of the day, you just have to do this. You just have to do CAW whenever and however you can. You know, don't listen to anyone else, really, when they say that you have to do stuff by a certain time, or you have to be doing this by this time, because this isn't a business. This is, like, you know, barely anyone in CAW, if like anyone really, is, you know, looking at this as a profitable thing. You know, I really doubt people are looking at it. I mean, hopefully most people aren't. Hopefully most people aren't looking at this from a financial or from like a business standpoint, because that's such a weird way of looking at a hobby where we make characters on a video game and we pretend to be wrestlers for like half an hour. Like, yeah. At the end of the day, like, that's all you have to remember. Is that we're all just doing this from a video game. This all stems from a video game. And what are video games if not a pastime and a hobby? You know? Like, that's really all I have to say. Apologies that this is a bit of a shorter and a little bit more of a deeper episode of the podcast than usual. You know, I just really wanted to do something that, you know, I've been kind of thinking about a lot. And sometimes just putting my thoughts out there, just talking into this microphone and putting it out in the podcast is, you know, it works to help me just sort of get out of, you know, get the thoughts out and just sort of really think about what I'm going to do and how I would approach things. You know, so again, if content comes out soon, it will come out soon. I don't really have that much of a control over it at the moment. Just gonna try and get it done, I guess. And yeah, that's been the podcast. I've been Byron, and I will see you all next time.